honourable member from Peterborough Kawartha.
After 8 years, this NDP Liberal government Prime Minister is not worth the cost. Emily Wheaton is a single mom who lost her home because she didn't qualify for her mortgage renewal. Why? Because of this Liberal NDP inflationary spending, which has driven up interest rates. So now she's forced to rent. She's paying nearly $4,000 for a 600 square foot apartment. Tomorrow's budget, we're asking for the Prime Minister to show compassion and sanity. Have a dollar of spending for every new dollar spent, so Canadians can afford to keep their homes.
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, what you will see in tomorrow's budget is support for renters and homeowners alike, and we'll do that all the while being fiscally prudent with the lowest debt-to-GDP ratio in the G7 with a AAA credit rating from an independent, objective observer, Mr. Speaker, as well as traditionally low unemployment. We do that at the same time as working for the most vulnerable in this country, something that the Conservatives vote against every single time. We expect all members of this House to support Canadians across the board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Peterborough Kawartha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What Canadians don't believe is anything they say. Right. They've had 8 years to prove a record, and more homes were built in the 1970s than have been built today. 10 cities across this country are normal. Don't tell people they've never had it so good when we have record high usage of food banks, when we have young people who will never own a home, and when interest rates have went up 2%, causing $10,000 a year in interest payments alone. Shame. Let's do a dollar for dollar. Let's show some sanity, and let's allow Canadians to keep their homes.
The Honourable Minister for Families and Children.
I think what Canadians need to know is what the Conservative response is to the affordability challenges that Canadians are facing. It's cuts. It's cuts to the programs that they need and are supporting them in a time of need, abandoning them when they most need it. On this side of the House, we've put forward a national school food program. We've put forward $10 a day childcare, the Canada Child Benefit, supports that are helping Canadians put food on the table and support their families, in contrast to everything that they oppose.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-l'Érable. For 3 weeks now, the Liberal Prime Minister and his ministers have been displaying all the failures of this government after 8 years. Inflation, interest rates, rents, mortgage payments, everything's going up. And it's going to continue with the Liberals. Tomorrow is the budget day. Will the Prime Minister, who isn't worth the cost, at least accept our demands to cut taxes for farmers and food, build housing, not bureaucracy, and apply dollar-for-dollar discipline, and especially put an end to the parade of inflationary spending so Canadians can feed themselves and house themselves? The Honourable Minister for Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 affordable housing units. That's what the leader of the Conservatives built when he was housing minister. That's in contrast with the 8,000 affordable housing units that we are building now, in partnership with the Government of Quebec and municipalities. In Mégantic-l'Érable, the project will be building 24 affordable housing units just there, 4 times more than were built by the Conservative leader, the chief insulter. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-l'Érable. It's not 24, it's 48, Mr. Speaker, and it's worse. CMHC is slow in approving that project. Mr. Speaker, I'm so surprised to hear that minister give results, showing off results that there's tens of thousands of affordable housing units he wants to build to correct a crisis his government created. That's the reality, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow, will they understand common sense, build housing, not bureaucracy, so that Canadians can house themselves and get out of the crisis that they built? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to see that my colleague knows that we're doing much more than the Conservative leader, the chief insulter, did during his time as Minister of Housing. There's another project in his riding, in addition to the one he mentioned called Envole-toi, 13 affordable housing units for people who need them, people who otherwise would be on the street. 13 is 2 times 6, double what was built by the Conservative leader, the chief insulter, during his whole term for the whole country.